Okay, everybody has a handout, I think. I shall sometimes stand and sometimes sit, perhaps. I had a student who wrote a thesis on theological education a while back, and very early in the essay, he wrote, "For evangelicals, the curriculum is a given." In other words, we all know what it is, nothing more to do. Well, it's not true. I know what he meant, but I wrote some comments on that. It's not that simple. The term curriculum has different meanings to different people. And in education circles, the word curriculum sometimes means the total experience that the students have in a college, a TEE program, or whatever. But most of us think of curriculum more as the content and the courses that we offer. So we're going to use it in that more simple terms, in that more simple manner for today. However, please be aware that students do not just learn from what we explicitly teach them. They learn a lot from how we teach them and many other things happening in our program. And we'll talk about that on another day. It's what we call the hidden curriculum, the implicit rather than explicit curriculum. So it's going to be important to remember that. There are also a number of different models for designing a curriculum. We're just going to use a basic model. Most models are similar to this, but they sometimes change a little further through the process to bring out some different approaches, which we will also look at on another occasion. So what we're going to do now is, first of all, look quickly through this summary, and then I will mention some of the points in more detail in this session and a few more in the next. This is what we call an interactive linear model. What that means is that linear is step by step, but interactive is being realistic, because we don't always just go step 1, step 2, step 3. We go back and fix something, and then we go forward, and then we jump around a bit. Many planning models are like that. So that's why we call it an interactive linear model. You'll see on the sheet that I have a section called Introductory Planning, then Designing the Curriculum, and these are the two parts we're concerned with. But just to make the model complete, of course, you would then go on to design the individual courses, and you would implement your curriculum and courses and evaluate that to see if you need to change something or improve it. So I've listed the whole lot, but we're not going to go into individual course design. We would need a whole workshop for that, and the same with implementing and evaluating. Okay, so let's look at the first step I have here. It's basically a situation analysis. And nearly all models of curriculum design begin with studying our situation and our target group, that is the students that we hope to be teaching, and to look carefully at the context of the training, and then from that we can form some objectives or outcomes. what we want our program to achieve. Let's think for a moment about the situation analysis. And all of these things we could spend a long time on, but we're just having short presentations today. One of the mistakes that people often make in designing a curriculum is that they assume that they know their people and their students and their situation so well that they don't need to analyze it. But when you sit down and really look carefully at who will our students be, what are their needs, what are the church needs, what are some needs in the community, it begins to change. What is our typical student going to be like? Maybe there is no typical student. There might be different groups. But if we do our initial situation analysis well, we are much more likely to end up with a curriculum that really meets our needs, not somebody else's needs. The first thing is looking at our target group or groups. Some probably in the more education language, it's called a target population, but that sounds a bit strange to me, so we'll call them target groups. Who are the people we want to reach? And I usually say there are two levels of your target group. There are the students themselves, and there are the people to whom they may minister or evangelize. And so we have two levels of our target population. Level 1, what do your students need? Level 2, who are the kind of people they will minister to or work with? Now, what that means, for example, if you're in a Buddhist country or a Muslim country, your students are Christians. But, of course, you still have to take account of the people to whom they will minister, who may be the Buddhists, the Muslims, or whatever. So just taking account of your target group. And then another important thing, what is the context of the training? What resources are available that you could use? What courses are already available? Could we use or develop some of those? If there's a Bible college in the area, maybe that is a resource that you can use. If there's a theological library somewhere, maybe, if you're fortunate, that may be a resource you can use, and so on. In some more sophisticated, modern, urban areas, some of your students or your tutors will have internet access. In other places, there's no electricity, certainly no internet. So we have to be realistic about our particular situation and context. The second thing that I've put here is that it's very, very valuable to do a survey of needs. And we emphasize the word felt needs. We can see that people have certain needs. But if they don't feel those needs, they will not be so motivated to come to our courses. So it's important to see what the people feel are their needs. And usually before a curriculum workshop, we encourage people to do a survey. Send out or talk informally or send out a questionnaire. And consider the pastors and the elders of the churches. What do they see are the needs? Then talk to the ordinary church members who may see things differently. What do they feel are needs in their churches, or perhaps in the wider community, because we want our programs to benefit the church, of course, but also the outreach into the community. And so it's important to look at needs in our own community and setting as well. And a survey helps us to put that in writing, and it makes things much clearer. And then we need to write objectives. In modern education theory, they are more often called outcomes. It's not quite the same, but it's almost the same. So we set our aims or our objectives based on the situation analysis, based on the needs. And from that, we should be able to form objectives or aims for our program. What do we want to achieve? And these days we always try to write our objectives. Maybe you can write them up, Graham, thanks. The first question, on what basis was your TE curriculum designed? Did you do some kind of curriculum analysis, situation analysis, objectives? Or, what is very often happens, of course, we look to see what courses are available and we use those. And that's a good start, but hopefully we can go further. So on what basis was your curriculum designed? Think about that. The second one, what might be the value of having a basic curriculum model or curriculum design model to work with? What could be the value of having a basic curriculum design model to work with? And the last one, how would you describe the main target groups or group in your TE program? How would you describe the main target groups? Who are the people you're trying to reach? So let's think that far ahead first. If we do a course writers workshop, I usually ask the participants to write out a description of their typical target group, or even put it on a poster in front of them so they can't forget who are we designing this course for. Or if we are translating it and contextualizing it, we still need to think about our students constantly. How can we best meet their needs? Do we need to make some changes in the materials that we're translating, for example? So those are some things to discuss, and they've got 20 minutes, I think. So it's a good time to share. Okay?